Greetings, good morning or afternoon or evening, wherever time it is in your neck of the woods. Happy Shark Week. So I'm Christine Elder, and in case you haven't met me before, I teach people about the natural world, everything from tardigrades to blue whales. And this week we're focusing on sharks. So this is the first of 7 days of Discovery Channel's Shark Week. And so we are going to be drawing a different species of shark every day, and it's going to be a surprise. And today's shark is a blue shark. So in case you haven't met me before, hi, I'm Christine Elder, and I'm a naturalist, environmental educator, and visual artist in Southern Oregon. And I love teaching people about the natural world, especially the oceanic world. And as they draw, they learn about it and they learn to respect and want to conserve the natural world. So that's my goal. So we are going to be sketching this blue shark today. Now, every day it's going to be a different species, and we're starting out with easy profile pictures like this side view of the blue shark, but each day is going to get a little bit more challenging. Now, if you miss a day or you can't draw live with me right now, you can always watch the replays. So those are going to be on my YouTube channel in a playlist called Sketching Sharks, of course. And so I'm primarily going to be using a graphite pencil, something you probably have too. And I might add a little highlights and shadows with maybe a pen and Uniposca white opaque pencil. And so, yeah, I'm so excited. Now, do hit that share button so that you can share it with friends on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you're watching. Really appreciate that. You know, the YouTube algorithms make it really hard for folks to get found. So we're going to have fun this week, and I want as many people to be able to join us as possible. So, yeah, click that share button. And so there is also a course that I offer online on sharks. It goes into a lot more detail about sharks. And you can find that on my website at christineelder.com/shark online course. And I put a link to it, I believe, in the chat box here, there, or someplace. All righty. And so let's get started. So like I said, each day we're doing a different species. We're going to go for about a half hour to 45 minutes at the longest. And we're going to draw starting with a really easy view. And I'm going to make this larger here. There we go. And it is optimized. I do optimize for being on a regular computer. So I want to make sure that you can see this. And so I'm going to kind of back up a little bit. Yeah, you know, that's I think that's what we have to do. Yeah, we're going to have to do it right there so that there we both people watching on their phones and a regular computer too. So it does help every day if you can watch. It's best to watch on a regular computer so you can see it much larger. Okie dokie. So anyway, let's look at our shark before we start sketching, because it really helps to be able to see it and understand its anatomy. And so blue sharks are very graceful and trim. And they have this blue indigo coloring on top. And then white on the bottom. In real life, it's whiter than it is in this photo. So they're very sleek and trim and graceful, not big and thick and bulky and spooky looking like a great white shark. Very trim and graceful. And these guys are in the group of sharks called requiem sharks. And we're going to draw another member of that family later on in the week. So we'll talk about those more later. Now, these sharks can be found throughout the world. They're in all the world's oceans. They prefer cooler water. So when they're in northern latitudes, they're closer to the surface. But in tropical areas, they can dive up to 3,000 feet deep to hunt. And they really love squid and also schooling fishes. Now, another thing about drawing them is looking at their shape. They have a really long pointed nose. They have pretty big eyes. And they also have really long pectoral fins. That's this pair of front fins here. So compared to other sharks, they're quite long. And then they have a heterocersal tail, meaning that the upper and lower lobe are different lengths. And this one is a lot longer, and it's got a little bit of a cut out of it, as if somebody took a snipping tool and snipped a little cut out of it. So anyway, we're going to get started drawing it now that we've looked at how long and sleek and graceful it is. And so I will start off with a line that indicates, let me see if I'm going to put this in the right place. I'll start off with a really light line, and I'm going to draw them about the same size. And then, oh, wait, something's going on. I want to refocus. Sorry. There, it shouldn't come out in and out of focus now. So I'm going to start with a really light line, and I'm going to make it a little easier for you to see. Sometimes I have to do a few little changes here. Yeah, you'll see that line better as we go. And then there's the longer tail and the shorter part of the tail. So I just start with that line to get me started. And then I am going to start this oval here. So they're really kind of torpedo shaped, but a very trim torpedo. So I'm going to draw this top line and then this bottom line. So I just get all the parts really loosely in there. And then the tail, and again, the upper lobe is longer, and it's got this little cut out of it, and then it's thicker at the base here. And then it comes down like that. All right. So I try to get the outside shape before I add any of the fins. And you'll see I'm not really doing any erasing. I'm just going to darken the lines that I like the best. And so then going to get the snout, long, thin snout. And he's got his mouth open. He or she, not quite. Oh, this is looks like a she or maybe a young he. Males have very long claspers right here to help them mate. So this is either a young one or a female. And they're kind of a smaller shark, just up to about 10 feet. And the females are longer than the males. So again, super long and sleek with a really pointed head. So now before I get those lines too dark, I want to add my fins because I don't want a hard line. So sharks always have two fins on top, and the first dorsal fin is taller than the second. And every species of shark kind of has different sizes of those. So there's the first dorsal fin, and then the second dorsal fin. And then let's get the face here. I should have finished up with the face before. So long pointed snout down to the open mouth. And so there is sort of a ledge here, kind of where I've drawn this line. There's a little soft ledge with the eye underneath it. And the eye is just above and in front of the mouth. And in sharks, you can see the whites of their eyes. And then inside, you see the black. And I'll probably be adding some ink pen. Where's my ink pen? I want to make that. And I'll leave a little highlight for that eye. Yeah, I like to really emphasize the eye. There we go. Okay, so now, so then we want to see that there are the gills. That's how they breathe. And in most sharks, there are 5 of them. And so there are 5 parallel lines here. All righty. And then before we make this line very much harder, we want to add the pair of pectoral fins. And remember, in this blue shark, they have really long pectoral fins that are kind of angled back and quite pointed at the end. And so right below that first gill that we drew is that first fin. This is the fish's right fin. So they have a pair of those, and it's kind of like a triangle. And that one's farther away from us, so I'm not going to put as much emphasis on that one. And then the other fin, which is the fish's left fin, is starts right above the about the 4th gill, and it's angled way back here like this. And you see it goes way back here, yeah, and longer, yeah. So that's going to be sort of like that, and it's going to come up into the body there. There we go. I might make this one a little thinner. Okay. And so we'll do our erasing when we get the outline done. Okay, so then we want to continue this line here, and we're going to add this other pair of fins. So some of the fins are paired, meaning a left and a right one, like the pectoral and the pelvic. That's what we're going to draw next. So we only see one of them, though, in this case. And then there's one more fin. And in this species, it's kind of right below the second dorsal, and that's called the anal fin because it's right behind the anus. So the anus and the reproductive structures are right here. And if this were a male, let me see, if this were a male, he would have some claspers. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of erasing because I've just fixed a few things here. And I'm going to erase this and this and the center line. Although I'll leave part of it here because there is a shelf. And then I'm just going to lighten. I want to kind of lighten this outline because a real shark is not going to have an outline. So we're going to shade it next. That's the fun part. And so yeah, we don't need this line to be very dark. Although I should probably leave it a little bit darkish so that you can still see it. So I'd love to know if you're following along. I'd love to have comments. That's what's wonderful about live events. So if you've ever seen a shark in the wild or at a zoo or have any shark stories, you can share them in the chat box. Yeah, so I'm just giving you a chance to catch up if you haven't already. Again, for those of you who just joined us, this is our week-long series of drawing different sharks every single day. And this species is the blue shark. And each day we will get a little bit more challenging of the pose. So this is a really easy pose where he's just a perfect side view. But as we go, we're going to get some more challenging poses. And the species we'll cover will be a surprise each day. But they are largely different species than are in the course, my online course. And again, I think I did put that in the chat box if you want to check that out, christineelder.com/shark online course. Oh, Renate, thank you so much for joining from Canada. Looks like so much fun. It is. So blue sharks generally are offshore in deeper waters, especially in tropics, because it's too hot for them. But I did see a shark once when I worked at the Moss Landing Marine Lab in California, and there was a shark that had washed up on shore. It was only a couple feet long, and it was alive, and we brought it into our aquariums. I don't remember how long it lived, but it lived for a while. Anyway, so I'm just cleaning up this outline, but keeping it really light because now uh, we're going to start shading it. And this is called the blue shark again because it's got this really beautiful blue coloration. It's kind of an indigo blue. And then the bottom, like in all sharks and most fishes too, is a white color that's whiter in real life than this because this is reflecting the color of the sky because this is in shallow water, this fish. I removed the background. It was swimming in the shallow water, but I removed the background. So anyway, we're going to start shading it, and I'm just going to use the same pencil. I'm using my favorite Blackwing pencil. You could use any kind of pencil. And so I'm just going to use the side of my pencil and start shading it. And I'm just going to get an overall medium value on this upper half. And at this point, I like to bring in my little sun icon, which I always include so we know which way the sun's coming from. And you can see that this shark is brighter, very like teal blue here and more of a purpley blue here. There's even cast shadows from the fins here. And then it's much darker below this line. There is a ridge here called a keel that a lot of sharks have. So let's add a little bit of shadow, but making him darkest in the middle. And the fin would be darker with a cast shadow coming off here. Can you see that? I guess you can see that. And how are we doing on time? Good, we got plenty of time. I think I'm going to make this a little shorter. Get the pelvic fin a little shorter there. And we're going to shadow this back fin. And make the shadow deepest right next to the body. And I'll clean this edges up afterwards, but we just want to get this. There's going to be the most shadows in the center of the body because that's where he's fullest and roundest. Well, let's see. And there'll be little color here. This will be darker than the belly. And there'll be a cast shadow, though, here, since the sun's coming here. So we want to make him darkest here. Right in the middle to make him round. And there is, again, this sort of ridge here. So adding the graphite is both going to give us the highlights and shadows, and also give us the idea that it's colored, the blue color. Okay, there we go. And I could even blend that. I've got this little blending tool. If I wanted to smooth these out, you could also do it with your fingertip or a Q-tip. And yeah, there's that cast shadow. And the width of the belly, really a little bigger. Again, these guys are really sleek and almost snake-like. So they're not going to have quite as much shadowing in the middle here as a big bulky shark like a great white or a bull shark. And the tail has more color to it than the belly. And the lightest part of the belly is going to be here in front where he's skinny and where it's closer to the sun. So yeah, I hope you can join me. Make sure you set your alarms for 9 a.m. Pacific time every morning through August 1st. That's how long the Discovery Channel Shark Week is, and that's what we're celebrating this week. Now and every day, again, will be a different shark species, but we'll be focusing on using these graphite pencils. And so once I kind of get enough graphite in there, I can erase and clean up the edges a bit. Trying to make our shark super realistic if we can. And again, noticing this species has a quite long and pointed snout. And there's a strong ridge from his snout to his gills. And just seeing a little bit of highlights. There's some highlight on the front. It's just a highlight along this edge here. And so I usually kind of go back and forth a couple times, just strengthening. Let me get the gills a little bit more obvious. So the species, again, has 5 gills, but some species have 6 or 7. But they're generally right there at the cheek, and they go right about to the base of this first pectoral fin. So now I want to start just really deepening. Remember, if you're enjoying this, please click the share button and share it with somebody on social media or on your Facebook or YouTube channel, or send it an email to a friend so they can join you this week. And we're going live every day, 9 a.m. my time Pacific. And so yeah, I will just clean up the edges. Trying not to show too much of that original outline. Trying to really blend it well. And so that's where I'll kind of go back and forth a few times with my blending tool. And I just want to really blend so don't see that first pencil line. That's what will make this shark really come alive. Just seem to have a little bit of some shadowing here, maybe because the tail is kind of pointed away from the light right there. So this is generally what I do, is kind of go back and forth, adding some more highlights and shadows. And I see a little bit more of a highlight right up here, because what happens is the shark, their backbone, which is cartilaginous, they're not a bony fish, kind of goes along the center here, and then it kind of goes up into the tail. And so there's a little highlight up in the tail. All right. So yeah, I just want to kind of blend some of these so I don't see that original line. There are very few lines in nature. Oh, there's a dog barking outside. Sorry. And yeah, the fin's going to be a little bit more shadowed in the front here, where it's being shadowed from the sun by the bulk of the body. But I noticed that the fin gets lighter as it comes out away from the body. I might actually just kind of blend this better so I don't have that outline. And then I can actually lighten it in general. I'm really fired up today because this week I had a wonderful live class with kids all week. I taught a week-long Shark Week themed summer camp. It was so fun. Okay, so a lot of people might stop about now and think that they were kind of done, but I really encourage you to work a little bit longer on getting it more realistic. So let's see, what else? In the snout, they actually have, oh, I'm gonna, let me make it a little bit thicker here. They actually have these little dots called the ampullae of Lorenzini. And those sense electrical fields in their prey. And then they also have a nostril right there. Okay. And then let's see, I think I want to add a little bit more shadowing here. And so I think I have to make that a little darker. That isn't a ledge there. And the eye is sort of in this socket that's going to have a little bit of and then his mouth continues down like that. Good. Okay. Great. Thanks for joining me, everybody. We are getting the finishing touches on this shark. And as I was saying, a lot of people might kind of stop about now, but you really want to just keep working to try to look like, see the sun and how it casts shadows, like from the fin here, and a little bit of a shadow here, and more of a shadow under this fin, especially the back of it. And so it's just little things like that, just sharpening some edges so that we can really see what's going on. And yeah, in person, this shark is just gorgeous indigo blue. So thank you for joining, and I'd love to have you chat with me in the chat box. Do tell me if you've heard of a blue shark before. Have you ever seen one, or have you ever seen any sharks in the wild? I've been really lucky to snorkel and scuba dive with a lot of sharks. And that's one reason I'm so passionate about teaching people about sharks, because many of them are endangered. In fact, the blue shark actually is near threatened, and it actually makes up the largest percentage of shark species that are caught and killed because of um, accidentally being caught in fishermen's nets, because they roam so widely in the oceans. These are a long distance migrant, and they will migrate thousands of miles across the oceans. And they're also captured for their fins, which is a very cruel practice for shark fin soup. And the fin is just cut off from the live shark, and then the live dying shark is just thrown back in the water to die a slow, painful death. So, that's one reason I teach people about sharks, is for them to understand um, how endangered they are. Let's see. I think I'm gonna lift out a little bit more of this. So all sharks have a darker top to their body and a lighter bottom. And that line between them is usually a little bit raggedy. It's not perfect. And so that is called counter shading, so that they can blend into the deeper waters from predators or prey that are looking at them from above, and they blend in with the lighter waters for predators or prey that are looking at them from above or below, that is. And they do have other predators because they are a smaller shark, like I said, up to 10 feet. So they're not as big as some of the other sharks that we will be sketching this week. Yeah, that's looking fun. I'm just going to keep blending this a bit. Now, if I wanted to get complicated, I could add some reflections from the shallows, but they're often not in shallow water. They're usually in the open ocean, and they're known as being a really curious shark, but and so they will come up to people, but they're not known as being aggressive. So they're not blamed for very many shark attacks. But sharks have a lot more to fear from us than we do from them, because again, we do kill them. 10 to 20 million blue sharks die each year from hunting. And again, that accidental bycatch in the nets and the what's called the long line fishery. So yeah. Okay. Starting to look really real, I think. Just smoothing it out. And I might add a few more details. I like to sharpen things up. So I will add some details, maybe get this mouth a little bit more obvious. And maybe this shadowed a bit more. Maybe this. Got to be just really subtle with some of these shadows you add. And then you can also add highlights with like a Uniposca pen. And so, if I wanted to add a little bit more highlight here, oops, I got to make it work here. You got to kind of wake this up a bit. I think this one's dying, actually. I think I need to use my other one. And I might add these little dots a little bit more. And how are we doing here? A few more highlights. Again, this leading edge of this fin might be lighter. And maybe the leading edge of this. And again, the lightest part of the shark is going to be its snout, especially when it's facing the sun here. So I might just add a little bit like there. And this one's not. Another thing you can use is a charcoal pencil. So I could add that. Oops, that's not working for some reason because it's wet, I think. So the charcoal pencil can be fun to kind of add some texture and also lighten things up. Hi, Jackie. You say you love watching. You're still in the car, but you hope to come back and actually draw this afternoon. Yeah, watching the recorded session. So remember that if you're not in a place where you can easily draw with me, you can watch the replays. I will put all of them in a playlist that has already been started. So today's will be added to a playlist right after this. And that's going to be called Sketching Sharks Playlist. So if you're enjoying this, or if you know somebody who really is passionate about sharks, especially kids, I would be so appreciative if you would share this, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. Just click that share button. It's so easy, and it really helps me because it's very hard for videos to get found with so many millions of them being made every single day. And yeah, so we're just, and so yeah, if you want to learn a lot more about sharks and about some other species that we're not covering this week, go check out my course at christineelder.com/shark-online-course. And I do have a link to it in the chat box. And it's only $25, and it's only available this week during Shark Week. I generally don't talk about sharks a lot, but I do during Shark Week to really inspire people to learn about them. Okay, so, Renate say, do sharks make sounds? That is a fascinating question. Well, they sure make a sound when they're chomping down on something, don't they? I don't know. Oh, wait, let me see. Let me fix this. Trying to get this. Yeah, this isn't really, this is better to watch on a laptop. That's a great, I don't know. I'm going to have to research that. Thank you for asking that, Renate, in the chat box. I will look into that for tomorrow. So yeah. So, right. So I hope, let's see. I think we're just about done with sketching our blue shark today. I hope you enjoyed learning about this beautiful shark that lives in all the world's oceans. It's a pelagic shark that is from the depths in the abyss up to 3,000 feet. It can dive for looking for squid up to the surface. And it's in all the world's oceans. And I think it's a very beautiful, graceful, and fairly easy shark to draw. Now, each day we're going to draw a different species, and they're going to be in different, more challenging poses in this side view. So I suggest you do follow along to this tutorial if you haven't already, and then you'll be more ready for the other ones. And if you want more help learning how to draw, again, my course, my Discover and Draw Sharks course, does go a lot more step-by-step in detail with all of my tips for drawing. So even if you've never drawn before, I guarantee I can teach you to draw. I've been doing it for like 30 years. And so, yeah, I hope you check that out. So I think we're pretty much done with our blue shark here for the day. And yeah, I used a few different tools, but I think he's pretty well done. So again, remember, this is a global shark. They're very sleek and graceful and trim. They're very blue color, even indigo blue. They have quite a pointed snout and really long pectoral fins. And those are two of the main things about them. Also, they have a pretty big eye proportionally to their body. So those are a few things that can help you draw them and make sure that it looks like a blue shark and not another species. So I can't wait to have you join me tomorrow. Again, I'm going live every day through August 1st at 9 a.m. Pacific to draw a different shark. So make sure to gather your sketching materials and pencils. And again, if you purchase my course, it includes a 6-page handout that includes all of the photos like this one, all of the high resolution reference photos. So that is on the course ready for you right now if you buy it. It's only $25. And yeah, you get to have pictures of all 7 species of sharks. So you'll be even more prepared to follow along live or in the replay to these workshops. Okay, I got to go because I have another meeting starting in 15 minutes. I hope you enjoyed this, both live and replay viewers. Thanks for joining me. And again, click that share button to share it with your shark-loving friends and kids in your life. Okay, bye-bye.